All right. Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, want to give all honor and glory to Yahawah, Bahashem, Yahawashi, Bahashem, Rakakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and shalom to the hopeful elect. I pray that this lesson be edifying to you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians who consist of the 12 tribes of Israel. It's your fellow servant, Yahawah, from the Jeremiah Orlando camp, and I pray that this lesson be edifying. Okay, real quick, this is off of Apostle Tahar's comment board. You know, you had a dude ask the question. Okay, his name is, the MOTB is here too. Okay, and with a name like that, you would think, Jake would understand, all questions about the MOTB, but we're gonna leave room, for the newcomers, okay, the new believers that's just entering into this faith, and haven't asked all the questions, and waiting patiently to ask these questions, okay. But with a name like that, you would think, they would understand, the ramifications. They would understand that it's actually the Lord's chip, okay. And this was a comment off of Elder Apostle Tahar's comment section of the video. He hate the prophets. He hates the prophets. Going into that old bottle, the dude that came up to the camp up there to the elder apostles and had a debate, or had a reasoning. Not a debate, but a reasoning. Had reason with them. Okay, but yes, this question here says, if a person is secretly microchipped, are they condemned even though they didn't willfully choose? And that's been one of the Jake's question, throughout my time, which is not a long time, but throughout this, since I've been listening, this has been a question that's been asked frequently. Every so often it pops back up. Okay, and Jake just got to understand that this is the Lord's temptation. This is not Esau. Okay, just as Job got tempted, ultimately Job got tempted from the Lord, but he sent Satan to tempt him. Okay, just as the temptation of Yahawashi, Satan tempted Yahawashi, but that was the Lord Yahawah that tempted. Okay, that sent the temptation. The apostles, and other different men were tempted, because the Lord was proving them. All right. So this question here, with a name like that, you should be able to answer this question for yourself. Okay. It says, if a person is secretly microchipped, are they condemned even though they didn't willfully choose? So the whole thing is that, we believe here, I believe, and I've heard brothers also speak on it. It's going to be a choice. Okay. Are you going to give in to the famine? Are you going to give in to wanting Esau to be your covering, as it's spoken in Isaiah? I think that's chapter 30. Are you going to give in to, his trial? His trickery, his are you going to give in to his seducing ways? Okay, because it's going to be a time where, like never before, Jacob's trouble. Okay, and this man here is gonna the people that he's gonna kick out of his new world order are gonna be the ones that don't want to worship the mark or the beast. Okay, those are the ones that's gonna be outcast, and that's gonna be the elect. The elect will be an outcast to Esau's society. All right. They won't be subscribing to this man's MOTB, which is, they're going to make it come by design of, famine, and different other ways Esau has plotted. Okay, but it's ultimately the Lord. Okay, the Lord is working Esau. Esau is an instrument in the Lord's hands. Okay, it talks about does the clay have power over the potter? Okay, the Lord is the potter, and he's controlling Esau, which is the clay, to mold wickedness. Okay, he's molding Esau to be, the most wicked he can be. Okay, to be able to put deception in this world. Okay, for those 2/3 Jakes, we're talking according to salvation, because we know, we already know that the heathen nations cannot get salvation. We know this. Okay. Thus saith the scriptures. But Jake, who can get salvation, the Lord is a proving ground. The Lord's going to test the Israelites. Okay, the Lord's going to test them, whether you're going to stand firm from him or not. Okay, whether you're going to serve him or serve the devil. You know, and it's going to be a proving ground, a testing ground. So we believe that, you know, it's not going to be, you know, you might go do it in secret. They come around the brothers with that fucking sword oozing out your skin. Okay, but we don't believe that it's going to be something where he punch you out and knock you out and, you know, put the chip inside of you. It is, you know, it is the devil we're talking about. So, you know, I'm not saying it, you know, it can't happen, but ultimately, if it does, the Lord doomed you to destruction. Okay, because this is that digital all. Once you have that digital all inside of you, willfully or unwillfully, you are saying, you know, you're pretty much, you know, you're pretty much bound to Esau, which is your master, as it says in this in the law. Okay, that all going into your ear, you're serving your master. You want to live for your master. You want to serve your master forever. Okay. But it says, though they didn't willfully choose. All right. So it's going to be a thing of testing. I think that's what Jake likes to forget, that this is a trial. This is a trial of your patience, a trial of your faith. Okay. Jake forgets that, man. You know, here you are. And this is just speaking, well, you know, just, you know, scenario speaking. Here you are. You've been patient and you've been faithful, you know, all the way up to the end. And the Lord going to have the Edomites punch you out, knock you out, you know, and put this chip inside of you. No, he wants to finish the test. He wants to finish the trial. Okay, he wants to see that gold tried in the fire. That now shit right now ain't going up. You know, things like right now we ain't getting tempted as we're finna get tempted towards the end. Okay, you know, the devil he's coming down with great wrath, but it's not in full sufficiency right now. Okay, it's not in full mode. He's not in you know, he's not in his full attribute, you know, his full mode. Okay, his full stature concerning the wrath coming towards the saints. Now he is bothering us, you know, we get a little persecutions and stuff like that, you know, YouTube, but we're talking about him, you know, removing food, our daily, you know, our daily necessities. Okay, Shalakia, our daily necessities. All right, but right now, you know, we're not in that type of temptation. But soon it's going to come a time where you're going to be tempted, you know, and you're going to have to act on that faith and act on that faith, okay, which you're building in this time. All right, to faithfully decline, you know, this man's new world order. Okay, so yeah, man, I just wanted to jump on here. This is a question that's frequently asked. Okay, you know, the Lord, you know, as it said in the scriptures, the Lord won't put on you more than you can bear. You know, and why would he have a faithful servant? You know, been faithful, been patient. You know, a faithful servant that's been, you know, standing strong. Why would he deceive him, forsake him? Okay, you know, as the scriptures say, where was the righteous forsaken? Okay, so yeah, I just wanted to touch up on that, man. And I'm gonna read it again. It says, if a person is secretly microchipped, are they condemned, even though they didn't willfully choose? And the brother answered, yes, Yahawah Zion. Okay, 9333. Yeah, and you know, yes, that's the short answer. Okay, but we believe that it's going to be those 2/3 that's going to give into, okay, his lying wonders. Okay, that's going to give into, they're going to give into his seducing ways. Okay, whether that be because of food, whether that be because of children, wife, family. Okay, and this is why the Lord